Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Monday morning yoga. And this, I think, is week 10 of our term, and we are going to be doing some sun salutations today. Basically, it's really, really chilly here today. It's like -5 outside. Cold, crisp morning, beautiful sunshine, but it's a time of year when it's sometimes hard to find our inner warmth. So this practice will get us warm inside in a gentle way that allows us to still appreciate the season. And we'll practice in stillness as well. I've got a couple of blocks handy, which you might need. I'm going to pop them at the front of my mat for now, and a little something to cushion my knee. But it's up to you. If you don't wish to practice with those things, that's okay. We are going to start by simply standing with our feet a little bit apart and resting the hands onto the body wherever is comfortable. So if you want to rest them over your heart, that's fine. Over your belly, one up, one down, hands on the hips, arms by the side, whatever floats your boat. And we're just going to bring our bodies to a little bit of quiet stillness, closing your eyes or gazing gently downward. Take a moment to find your weight centered across your foot. So a little bit forward, a little bit back, a little bit side to side, and finding center. And then allow the knees to soften just a touch so you feel the muscles in the legs active, but not super engaged. With this stronger, more stable base, allow your body to organize itself upright, maybe finding a little length in the back of the neck or a bit of openness across the chest. And then observe how your body feels in this moment. Perhaps it's obvious that you have some areas of tension or stiffness or discomfort. Working gently with those areas throughout the practice. And then also noticing at least one part of the body that feels spacious, quiet, at ease, comfortable. And allow those sensations to ripple out from wherever they are centered to touch more of your body, to soften some of the tension you are holding at the beginning of class. Move your awareness to your breath. Notice your natural breath. Notice where it moves in your body. Is it in the top of your lungs? Is it through the center of the chest, or do you feel it lower in the body? There's no right or wrong way to feel your breath. It's just an observation, so you know where you're starting from. Whenever you're ready, you can gently deepen your breath, breathing deeply into the bottom of the lungs, filling the sides of the body and the back and the chest. And as you breathe gently out, engaging the belly muscles to exhale completely. Breathing into the sides of the body, the back and the chest. Breathing out a long, deep breath, engaging to exhale fully. A few more of these deeper breaths. Each breath in fills us with prana, energy for our practice, vitality, and creates a sense of engagement and awareness and concentration, focus in the mind. And each breath out allows us to soften a little deeper those tensions that we're holding, to find that comfort and ease through our bodies. One more deep breath in and out. And then we're going to relax the arms down Draw the chin towards the chest and just spend a moment with the sense of length across the back of the neck, across the top of the shoulders. And then if you enjoy neck rolling, you can roll the right ear towards the right shoulder, and then the chin back to the chest, and go from side to side, opposite side. And if you don't enjoy neck rolling, bring your head upright and do some simple head tilting and head turning. So the same sort of thing, just done in a way that moves the body in those individual planes rather than this head rolling, which uses both sideways motions and twisting motions at the same time. For anyone who feels that they'd like to, you can roll your head in circles. For those who are doing the individual neck movements, you can do a little bit chin to chest and chin lifted. If you're rolling your head in circles, just doing 2 in one direction before changing to go the opposite way. Feeling that sensation of space underneath the chin and down the front of the throat. The next time your head comes to center with the chin on the chest, pause there and smile to yourself. When you're ready, raising your head and opening your eyes. Just giving your shoulders a little roll. Aces. Okie dokie. Hopefully we can feel a sense of easing of the natural tension that we carry across the neck and shoulders. We're going to come to focusing on our feet before they get cold. So it's really up to you how you use the space around you. But we're going to try to come up onto our tiptoes as high as we can and walk around the space that we've got. But it doesn't really matter. Try to avoid any debris. You can just walk up and down your mat if you like. But just taking your opportunity, you might enjoy walking across different surfaces like your mat or carpet or harder floor on your tiptoes. You can even just do it in place if you prefer. Trying to keep your body as high up on the tiptoes as possible, the heels as lifted as possible, nice and natural movements through the knees, the arms, the shoulders, and just notice if your hands have become involved, if they've decided to point the fingers down a little bit more strongly or straighten through the arms and the wrists. When you're ready, you can float your heels to the floor and just observe the effect of walking on the toes. So you might be more aware of the pads of the toes and the ball of the foot than you normally would be. And then we do the same thing, but on the heels of the feet. So trundling around your space, trying to avoid sticking your bottom out and doing odd things with your hands. We want to take nice paces here, softening the knees, keeping the chest upright, allowing the arms to float around in a nice, gentle manner. When you're ready, floating your feet back down to the floor and just observing again the sensation of having walked on the heels. Maybe you're more strongly aware of the heels and their contact with the floor. And then walking on the outside edges of the feet. So we roll the insteps upwards, try and take most of the toes off the floor if you can. And again, walking here as naturally as possible. Trying to keep the chest upright, little softness across the knees. Woo. It's okay to have a little wobble. And again, noticing what you've done with your hands. It's quite common for the hands to turn inwards a little or a lot. A lot if you're a beginner sometimes. And then floating your feet down to the floor, becoming aware of not just the sensations in the foot and the outside of the foot, but the sensations across the low part of the legs, and perhaps even across the low part of the back. How our feet interact with the floor is reflected in how our pelvis interacts with our spine. I think it's probably the best way to put it. Okay, and then inside edges of the feet. Now it's quite common here for the knees to fall together. If you can, keeping your knees apart, again, making nice normal paces, natural paces, and just noticing if you have penguined your arms, allowing them to relax, allowing the hands to relax. It's just because our hands and feet make sympathetic movements to aid our coordination, actually. So when you're ready, coming back to float your feet down to the floor and observe the effect across the foot. So for some people, this will have warmed your foot up, which is great. It doesn't matter if it hasn't, but if it has, that's fantastic. And for others, it will be that it has just created a little bit of awareness across the foot, which is lovely. Super. So we're going to leave our feet in place and return our awareness to the upper body. And then we'll take the hands onto the shoulders, fingertips to the chest or shoulders, somewhere in that direction, and gently making circles with the elbows. So we want to create a circle that feels easy to begin with. And then we'll work to a slightly bigger range of movement so that we get to the point that feels comfortable to do, but we haven't asked the body to do the full thing first thing. The elbows can begin to come together in front of you. The shoulder blades can begin to move towards each other behind the body. Feel free to move your neck if it feels like it likes to join in. Sometimes that's nice. We don't need to hold the body rigid as we do this, but you might enjoy a little lift in the pelvic floor and the belly muscles. One more in this direction. And then we'll do the same thing, starting small, going in the opposite direction. So just a small movement to begin with, and then building into a larger range of movement. Maybe beginning to feel the upper back, the chest, the shoulders, the neck really getting involved. Bringing the elbows towards each other in front of the body, shoulder blades towards each other behind the body. Very good. Let's do one more in this direction. And we'll let the arms rest down to the sides, just giving a little wriggle. Oh, fantastic. Now, because we're standing up, I recommend that you put yourself near support, a chair, a sofa, a wall, whatever it might be, door frame, perfect, if you feel like you need it. We're going to take our awareness onto our right foot first, and then lift ourselves tall, float the left heel off the mat, and just find a point of focus ahead of you that's not moving, and then free the left foot from the floor and do some ankle circles here. So you can do whatever you like with your arms for support, just circling the ankle. Try to make your fullest range of movement. You don't need to do it all at once, but build in that direction, and then going the opposite way as well. Helps to have a little bit of lift in the belly muscles, a little softness in the right knee, so we're not locking that knee straight, and you might enjoy a little bit of movement with your arms as well. When you're ready, you can place the left foot on the floor. Just feel the difference between the two sides of the body, not just in the left ankle, but also in the standing right leg. It's all done for a reason. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. Weight to your left foot, floating the right heel off the floor, just finding that lift, that point of focus, firming the belly muscles as you lift the right knee and circling the right ankle. Building into your fullest range of movement. Keeping the left knee a little soft, going in the opposite direction with your rotations. Feeling that standing leg working as well, I'll bet. And when you're ready, floating the right foot to the floor, standing onto both feet, and allowing the feet to land and stay in good alignment, but wherever they are, so that we can return our focus to the upper body. Ooh, how exciting. We're going to take the hands and interlace the fingers, ease the elbows into the chest or into the sides of the body, and then just make figure of 8 motions with the wrists. So we're beginning to warm the wrists, and we can go the opposite way as well. And then when you're ready, you can release the hands. We're going to place the thumbs into the palms, the other fingers all the way around, and then make circles with the wrists with these sort of thumb fists. And then as we circle the wrists, we're going to reach the arms out to the side. We're going to allow the arms to come up nice and high. think I've floated off the screen, but it's all good. We're going to rotate the opposite way as the arms come back down to the sides, just feeling your way here. It's a really lovely practice. We'll do one more up and down. So rotating the opposite way, reaching the arms out to the sides and up to whatever up might be for you. And then rotating the opposite way on the way down, reaching the arms away from the body as well. Super. When you get to the bottom, just relaxing the hands, shaking them out, wiggling the fingers, doing anything that feels good. And we'll take our awareness back down to our feet. So checking that your feet do feel like they're best aligned for you. We're going to use a point of focus ahead of us that's not moving, and then float both heels off the floor as we come high up onto our tiptoes, and float both heels slowly down to the mat. So we're looking for really slow up and down, coming up and releasing slowly down. Very good. Nice and firm through the belly. You can keep the arms a little wider if it helps. You can use a hand on support, fingertip touch on the wall, if that is helpful. Let's do one more. Up. And slowly down. Excellent. That wasn't quite a slow down for me as the others. Let's bend the knees just to ease out any effort in the back of the calves. And then we're going to do a little bit side to side. So we're going to float both heels up, but then take the right heel down, and then float and take the left heel down. If you want to do something with your arms that's helpful, then feel free. You can have the hands on the hips, one hand on the wall, as you choose. It helps to use your point of focus regardless of whether you're holding on or not, and keeping that firmness in the belly. And it's just a little movement from side to side. Now, at the moment, I'm bobbing up and down. I can see on the screen that you guys are at home as well. So we're going to change this movement from a bobbing to just the legs moving. So the upper body, in fact, everything above the hips stays exactly where it is. We don't go up and down anymore. We're just moving through the legs. Requires a little bit more muscular control, which is all good. And then we're going to try and do this where the heels don't actually touch the floor, but they get almost to the floor. So you want to lift the heels as high as they can go when they're lifted. So working one side and then the other, not quite touching the floor with the heels. This is really, really toughy, requires lots of focus and control. And when you're ready, release the heels down to the mat. Just give your knees a bit of a bend, and we're going to shake out the legs. It's okay to wobble, it's okay to fall. Not fall flat though, that's what we're going to avoid doing. Okay, so coming back to our upper bodies, we're going to take the arms nice and wide, and then bring the backs of the hands towards each other as we round through the spine. And then draw the elbows back as we open through the chest. You might like to reach the arms back and turn the palms upwards as well. And then rounding through the spine as you come forward. We're going to inhale back and exhale forward. Chin to chest, scooping the belly in. Inhaling, standing tall, opening the chest, lifting the chin. Exhaling, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. Reach the fingertips away from you. Get as much movement through the center of your body as you feel comfortable doing. Just beginning to create a little sense of space and strength. Let's do one more. Rounding through the spine forwards and opening the chest back. Then float your arms down to your sides. Just give your shoulders a little roll. And then we're going to stick with the upper body. I'm going to step back ever so slightly because I think that's the only way I'll be on the screen. Not that it matters, because you guys, I'm sure, will be able to follow the instructions regardless. We're going to take the arms around the body and up, and just get to wherever is comfortable for the shoulders. So it could be that your arms are wide, it could be that they're closer together, it doesn't matter. And then here, we're going to really focus on our feet. So a little softness across the knees, so that we can find our feet really strongly in connection with the floor. And then we're going to reach the one arm up and then the other. It doesn't matter which side you start with. We're going one side and then the other. Lifting the chest also, and lifting in the belly muscles, maybe lifting your chin. Just a touch, not too much. One side and then the other. And we're going to take a little break from this. So allow the arms to float down to the side for the moment. Just rolling through the shoulders, making any movements that feel good. Little wriggle through the neck as well is quite nice. And then we're going to come back to having the arms over the head. Take hold of the right wrist with the left hand, and then just draw your right hand to the left side. So bending to the left, opening that space down the right side of the body. And here we're going to soften the knees, really fix our legs in place. And then if you can, just look to the right a little, and then look to the left a little. So it's just a little movement, like a twisting spiral through the spine. And then we're going to come up to the center. Let's release the arms down in between. Little roll of the shoulders, wiggle of the hips, and movement of the head. And then the same thing on the other side. Reaching the arms out and up, catching hold of the left wrist with the right hand, drawing the left arm up and over to the right side, just finding that sense of length down the left side of the body first. Noticing if it feels differently, if your shoulders are as open or not, it doesn't matter. So here we are. We're going to soften the knees and just gently roll a little bit forwards and backwards, basically looking up to the left and then down to the right for this gentle kind of spiral. Well, it's actually not super gentle, is it? But a lovely spiral through the body. When you're ready, coming back to center, releasing the arms down to the side, giving a little roll of the shoulders and movement of the neck as well to release any kind of effort there. Awesome sauce. So let us come now to our legs again. So we've done lots of things for the low part of the legs, and we're going to do a little bit for our knees and just a sort of bounce, but we're going to do it with the whoosh breath. So in the whoosh breath, we start with the arms up, and as we come into a dynamic forward bend, we bend the knees deeply and then come back up again. And I know that you guys will be familiar with that, but just remembering it's that bend that's really important. We don't want to have any impact on the low back here. So nice wide feet, nice soft knees to begin with, firm in the belly muscles throughout. We're going to breathe in and reach the arms up. And as you breathe out, whoosh, exhale through your mouth, breathing in and up, breathing out, whoosh. Nice and bouncy through the knees, breathing in and up. Whoosh. And just using the arms to help with momentum. Whoosh. Let's do one more. Whoosh. Finish by reaching up and just taking the arms down to the sides, giving yourself any kind of wiggles that you might need. And we'll come to moving a little bit in the hips with the feet nice and wide. We're going to circle the hips. So here you can start by allowing the rest of the body to be involved in the motion. So we're allowing the hips to circle in whatever way feels good, allowing a little bit of side bending in the torso. The legs can be straighter if that feels good, or knees softer if it is preferred. When you're ready, going the opposite way. It helps to have just a touch of lift across the belly muscles here for support. You might activate your pelvic floor as well, and be aware of your weight moving around your feet or your ankles. And then we're going to come back to the center, soften the knees a little deeper, and then we're making those same rotations, but without moving the rest of the body. So here it's much more activating for the core muscles that are controlling the movement of the hips. The chest is passive, the ankles a bit more passive. And then when you're ready, going the opposite way. So you don't get that same sensation of the weight of the body traveling all around the sole of the foot. It might travel a little, but just not very much. And we're really focused on using the muscles of the front, sides, and back of the lowest part of the torso, and of course the legs, upper part of the legs. When you're ready, coming back to the center, standing tall, shaking out anything that might need shaking out. And we are ready for doing our sun salutations. So I'm just retucking myself in because I know what it's like. Clothing goes everywhere as soon as we start doing vigorous movements. So take a moment to set up anything you might need, maybe a block or something soft to go under a knee. We're going to spend some time with our knees down the first round, but after that, we won't spend huge amounts of time with the knees down or wiggling on them. We'll probably put them down a bit, doesn't matter. And blocks, if you would like, blocks can come to the front of your mat. And we will also come to the front of our mats and stand with our feet now in a more active Tadasana, so slightly narrower perhaps if you feel comfortable. Turning the palms of the hands forward, we're going to drop the fingertips down. Think about lengthening the crown of the head up and finding space all through the body. Take a moment to breathe deeply in here and breathe deeply out. Then breathing in, taking the arms around the body and up. Breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Breathing in again, take the arms around the body and up. And then as you breathe out, folding forward from the hips, finding a length in the back of the body by softening the knees and folding into your forward bend. Hold in your forward bend for a moment. You can use your hands on blocks if it's comfortable. You can hold elbow to elbow if you prefer. So here we want to just gently begin to find a little bit of length down the back of the body, maybe easing one knee a little straighter and then the other, and just moving from side to side. I also like to use the weight of the head as a little traction on the neck, gently turning the head from side to side, or gently nodding the head backwards and forwards. And then when you're ready, you can step your right foot back as far as it naturally goes, pop a little something underneath your right knee if you need it, and come into runner's lunge. So a few weeks ago, I hurt my right knee and it's still a bit sensitive. So forgive me if I move in a ginger way here. A gingerly, rather. I don't know if you can move in a ginger way. That's all good. We're going to open our chests. Think about opening the front of the body and just finding wherever feels good for our lunge to begin with. And then moving the hips back and the hips forward. So we can use either the toes tucked flat at the back or the foot extended, but pressing off that foot to move the hips forwards and backwards. And at the same time, you might like to move your supports forwards and backwards, or you might like to just have your fingertips on the floor, as you choose. We're going to work our way towards that and work our way towards doing this without any support from the hands as well. So flirting with extending the front leg, this time as you come back, wiggling your hips a little bit from side to side, just feeling that sensation of length move around the left leg, hip and thigh particularly. And then when you're ready, you can come forward, maybe moving your blocks out of the way, lengthening your right leg and stepping your left foot back so you find plank pose. Look ahead of your mat and think about lengthening the back of the body, scooping the belly in and keeping the hips a little higher than you'd be inclined to. So we don't want to drop them down. We want to really use the sides of the body to lift. We're going to take knees, chest and chin or forehead to the floor. And then here, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other, pressing the feet down, giving yourself a low cobra, coming up. And then we're going to go down and up 2 more times. So we're exhaling down to the floor, forehead to the floor, firm in the belly and the buttocks, inhaling up to your low cobra. Exhaling down, elbows stay close to the body. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Let's do one more while we're here. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And then from here, we're going to come through hands and knees, finding a little gentle child's pose, just finding the hips moving towards the heels a little, maybe forehead to the floor for a brief moment. And then we can tuck the toes and come up into downward facing dog. And first down dog of the day, feel free to pad through the heels, one and then the other. A little turn of the head from side to side. Lifting the tailbone, lifting both heels, press the chest back towards the thighs, and just see how your down dog feels. Hopefully it feels okay. Don't need to get the heels to the floor. If you wish to, you can, of course. And then when you're ready, back to hands and knees. And we're going to step the right foot forward. Again, you can place a little block underneath the left knees and find your lunge first. So you might prefer the toes tucked under or the toes tucked flat. Just finding what feels good in the lunge first, and then we're going to move hips back, hips forward. Opening your chest as the hips come forward, lengthening through your tailbone as the hips go back. Use your feet to help, so pressing forward with the left leg and pressing back with the right leg. Just beginning to feel the straightness in that right leg, the extension as it happens. Doesn't need to happen all at once, but being aware of what feels good in this moment. And then the next time your hips come back, you can do a little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Just feeling that sensation of length moving. And then when you're ready, maybe blocks to one side, tuck the left toes under, just playing a little bit with the weight across the 2 feet so you can lightly step the left foot forward and find your forward bend. Here, taking a deep breath in and out, and then bending the knees, looking forward, reaching the arms wide as you breathe in, stand all the way tall, and breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Breathe in as you stand tall, just spinning the palms forward, dropping the fingertips down, breathing out, holding in Tadasana. Breathe in, take the arms around the body and up, breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Breathe in again, taking the arms around the body, and as you breathe out, fold forward from the hips, softening the knees as you come down, hands to feet, head to knees. And then here, we're not holding the forward bend, although if we're going to hold the forward bend. So just let your breath find its natural rhythm and just play with extending the back of one leg and then the other, a little bit like walking the dog, but in a forward bend. And it doesn't matter if neither leg gets extended, it's just a sense of length. Scoop your belly in, see if it makes a difference to hold your belly more firmly in and do the motion. When you're ready, you can step your left foot back as far as it naturally goes, taking your knee down to support if you need to. And this time, if you can do this with your hands on the floor instead of the blocks, reach for the floor. If not, stick with the blocks. It's not a problem. We're going to move the hips backwards and forwards, just keeping a little lower with our movement. So it becomes a touch more challenging for the hips. And that's okay. So we're building into it. We've done the first variation. This is the second variation. And here we can also play with pointing the toes towards the floor and flexing the heels on that straight leg. So whichever feels best for you. Very good. And the next time your hips are back, giving yourself a little wiggle as you move the hips from side to side. And then coming forward and stepping your right foot back into plank pose. Just going to move that block off the mat, holding plank pose, extending through the heels, scooping the belly in, maybe thinking about looking ahead of the hands rather than dropping the head down. That's quite a nice thing to do. And then from here, exhaling, knees, chest, chin, or forehead to the floor. We're going to do our same low cobras up and down, first firming the feet into the floor, firming the pubic bone down, and engaging the belly and the buttocks. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other, and then gently lifting the head and chest up, and gently lowering down. Lifting head and chest up, gently lowering down. If you wish to do this with your breath, you might feel that you can breathe in as you lift and breathe out as you lower, or you might prefer to do it as a breathe out to lift and breathe in to lower. Doesn't matter which one. From here, we're going to come through hands and knees. Nice little gentle movement of the buttocks back towards the heels, then tucking the toes and coming into downward facing dog. Walk your feet in as far as feels comfortable so that you can work with good engagement. Maybe a gentle wiggle of the hips from side to side with nice soft knees. And then playing with lowering your heels and lifting your heels. So keeping the legs and the arms and the body straighter, but just releasing the heels and then coming onto your tiptoes. So we're just sort of really working through the calf muscles. When you're ready, you can soften both knees to step your left foot forward. Take your right knee down to support or down to the floor. If you can, keeping the hands on the floor and just gently easing the hips backwards and forwards. You have your toes tucked under at the back or tucked flat, it doesn't matter. You can play with extending through that front foot so the toes stay towards the floor, or lifting the toes back towards the body, as you choose. Next time your hips are back, giving yourself a little wiggle of the hips from side to side. And then we can free the back foot knee from the floor. Just get a little buoyancy across those legs so we can lightly step the right foot forward. Find a forward bend for a deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then softening the knees, breathing in as you look forward. Reach the arms out to the side, reaching up. And breathing out as the palms come to the center of the chest. Take a moment just to allow yourself a breath. I need to close the blind because this spot of light will make the screen really dark at this end. So apologies, guys. That's the winter sunshine coming in. And I'm very, very sad to block it out, but it does make it much easier for you guys to see at your end. That should hopefully be a bit better. Okay, so we've done one round to either side, and hopefully you can feel the effect in your body. So we want to be able to feel that our body is strengthened and opened and feeling spacious, and maybe there's effort there, but it's effort that feels good. And throughout this practice, we're going to keep the sun salutations, this kind of dynamic, not super vigorous, super strenuous. So this is what we're aiming for in this practice. So we're going to come back to the top of the mat and start again with our right foot, turning the palms of the hands forward, letting your breath follow its natural rhythm where it's not directed, or even following its natural rhythm where it is directed if you prefer. So breathing in and out here in Tadasana, softening the shoulders down, engaging the belly muscles. Breathe in, take the arms around the body, looking up, joining the palms, and breathing out, bringing the hands to the center of the chest. Breathing in again, taking the arms around the body and up. And as you breathe out, folding forward from your hips, engaging through the belly muscles, softening through the knees. In your forward bend, just notice where your weight is. Is it in your toes? Is it in your heels? Is it centered across the foot? Try to bring it to center as you find your natural breath. We're going to think about lifting the tailbone nice and high, scooping the belly in, but keeping that softness down the backs of the knees. Relax the back of the neck. Take a deep breath in and out. And then we're breathing in to step the right foot back, taking the knee down to the mat. So here, we're going to take our hands off the floor. So if you prefer to keep your hands on the floor or your hands on blocks, you can absolutely do that. But if you're able to come into an upright lunge, then we're going to do this dynamic hip movement in the upright lunge, or with the body a bit lifted. So here we're using the front foot to push the hips back as we lean forward over our front leg. And then we're using the back foot to push the hips forward as we open the chest and think about engaging the back of the body and move the hips forward. So going backwards and forwards. If you like your arms out to the side for a little bit of balance support, you can absolutely do that. You don't need to go to any great degree, but if you wish to, you can begin to explore a little bit deeper into your range of movement if that feels good to you. So do what feels best. Super stuff. And it's a bit wobbly, so engaging in your center. The next time you come forward, we're going to come into plank pose. So stepping the left foot back, I'm just going to move my block to one side. Coming into plank pose, and here we're going to hold plank pose, and we're going to take the right knee down to the mat without really touching, so just the barest touch, and then extend the right leg and then the left knee. And here we want to firm the belly muscles, look ahead of the mat, right knee towards the mat, and then left knee towards the mat. Think about using that sense of lift to give you space between you and the floor, particularly through the torso. One more time, right knee, and then left knee. And then here we're going to take both knees down, roll the shoulder blades towards each other, and let the chest and chin come down. Point your toes. This time we'll take our hands nice and wide. Don't need to be off the mat, but wider than they normally are. Firm the belly and the buttocks, press the tops of the feet down, and bring yourself into another low cobra, but perhaps a little bit higher because the arms are wider. It's just a bit easier. And we're going to gently lower down and lift up. You can do this with a breath if you like. And if you normally lift as you inhale, take an inhalation at the bottom of the movement and exhale up, and just see if it makes a difference. Gives us an opportunity to move in the opposite way. One more like this. Excellent. And then from here, we'll take the hands back towards underneath the shoulders to move our hips all the way back into an extended child's pose. Firm the hands into the floor and then come up to downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, we're just gently easing one heel down and then the other, just a little wiggle from side to side, pressing into the fingertips, the base of the fingers, lengthening through the arms, maybe gently engaging the inner elbows towards each other, lifting in the belly muscles. I like to turn my head from side to side. You might like to do the same. When you're ready, you can bring your knees down again or simply step your right foot forward so that you come into your lunge with the left knee supported if needed. And then pressing into the legs to bring yourself upright. Feel free to use your hands on the floor or blocks if you prefer. And then we're simply releasing the hips back over the left ankle and releasing the hips forward towards the right ankle. So pressing with the right leg as you move the hips back and pressing with the left foot as you move the hips forward and exploring the range of movement that feels good to you. And using the belly muscles and the arms for support. Let's maybe do one more. Very good. They're quite hard for balancing, but it's really good practice. Hands come to the floor as we come forward, freeing the left knee, just getting a bit of buoyancy across the 2 feet to move the left foot forward and find your forward bend. Taking a deep breath in and out here. And soften the knees, look forward as you breathe in, drop your bottom, lengthen through the front of the body, lifting the arms and breathing out as the hands come to the center of the chest. Stand tall as you breathe in and out in Tadasana. Breathe in, move the arms around the body and up. Breathing out, palms together, center of the chest. Breathing in, take the arms around the body again, reaching up. And as you breathe out, fold forward from your hips, softening the knees, coming into your forward bend. Here in your forward bend, just taking a moment, deep breath in, deep breath out. And then breathing in as you step your left foot back, knee to the mat, and we're going to do the same practice again. So we're letting the breath find its natural rhythm, coming up into our more upright lunge. And here, moving the hips back over the left heel, moving the hips forward towards the right ankle. So again, moving either with hands on the floor, hands on blocks, or hands off the floor completely. For those of you who'd like to do a little bit more, you can reach the arms up as you go forward and reach the arms back as the hips come back. So just a little additional movement, and that requires additional core strength. So thinking about using the belly muscles. We'll do one more. Moving forwards, moving backwards. And then taking the hands either side of the front foot, lengthening into plank pose, moving your block to one side. And again, we'll do the same thing that we did with our planks, pressing the mat away, lowering one knee towards the floor and then the other, thinking about engaging in the belly muscles. Holding a still plank if you feel that it's a little bit too much to add this extra element of movement. One more to each side. And then bending both knees, drawing the chest towards the floor, the chin, and then allowing your forehead to come flat, arms to be a little bit wider than the body. Pressing the tops of the feet, the pubic bone down, engaging belly, buttocks, rolling shoulder blades towards each other. Press into your hands to come up and come to wherever feels comfortable. Here we're going to do a little sway of the chest from side to side. So we're just moving, almost like we're just looking and the chest follows, keeping the arms active. The elbows are a little bit bent. The chest is open, so the shoulder blades are moving towards each other. And the low body is nice and active here. So we've got great support there. Belly muscles working too. And when you're ready, coming to center, coming all the way down. Hands come back onto the mat, bending the knees to take the hips back towards the heels and hang out in your child's pose for just a little bit longer, maybe 2 deep breaths in, sighing out through the mouth. Then we're tucking the toes under and coming into downward facing dog. And in our downward dog, doing anything that feels good. So here, if you'd like to, you can take your feet a little bit wider, come up onto your tiptoes, take your heels to one side, just bend and stretch the legs a couple of times, maybe 3 times. Little squatting dog. And then we're going to come back through center, heels to the opposite side, little squatting dog. You feel free to do any down dog variation that you like. And then when you're ready, coming back to the center. And I can't remember which foot we're on. Never mind. Let's step forward with the left foot. I think that is right. Right knee to the mat. Very good. Pressing into both feet to come up into an upright kneeling position. And then we can do that swinging of the hips backwards and forwards, either with the hands on the floor or support, or hands free of the floor. Sometimes that just happens as you're practicing. You might have noticed in your home practice it happens as well. So if you wish to, you can use your arms for this part of the practice as well, lifting the arms up as your hips come forward and reaching the hands back behind you as your hips come back. You can lower your chest towards your front leg as much as feels comfortable. A little backwards and forwards. I promise you this is our last set of swinging hips. We're going to be doing something else on the next round. Last one. And then bringing the hands forward, freeing the back knee, just getting a bit of buoyancy between the front and back feet, so you can lightly step the right foot forward. Find your forward bend for a deep breath in and out. And then soften your knees, breathe in as you look forward, drop your bottom, stand all the way tall, join the palms and breathe out as the hands come to the center of the chest. Relax the arms down for a moment, give yourself a moment here to wiggle anything that needs wiggling, shake out anything that needs shaking out. So on our next round, in our lunge, we're just going to gently lower and lift the knee. So we will stay in the lunge position forward. You can use your blocks if you like. And on our return lunge, we'll do a twisted lunging variation. And that's pretty much the only difference on this round. So standing tall, spinning the palms forward, dropping the fingers down. Take a deep breath in and out here. And breathing in, take the arms around the body and up. Breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Breathing in, take the arms around the body. And as you breathe out, folding forward from your hips, soften the knees, hands to feet, and head to knees. Let's step straight back. Breathing in, step the right foot back, knee coming to whatever support you'd like. You can use your blocks to give you a bit more lift if you prefer. And then here we're going to hold the lunge as we breathe normally, lengthening the right leg and really pressing into the left foot at the same time. So you could take your hands off support. You've got that much strength and activation in the legs. And then we're going to lower the right knee down. So lifting, engaging through the legs, really firm in the belly, and lowering down. Let's do 2 more like that. Lifting, extending through the heel, and lowering. So we're just kissing the knee down. We're not really putting weight into that leg. 1 more time, and lower. Hands to the floor, step back into plank pose. I'm just going to move that block out of the way. And here in plank pose, we can do a little bit of bringing the knee forward. So we can bring the right knee forward to the right elbow and then back, left knee forward to the left elbow and back. Right knee forward and back, left knee forward and back. 1 more time to each side. Nice and firm through the center. It's a bit stronger than it looks. And when you're ready, knees, chest, chin, or forehead to the floor. Very good. Taking the arms nice and wide, forehead down, pressing the tops of the feet down, the pubic bone, engaging the belly, the buttocks, the space between the shoulder blades, coming up into a wide hand cobra. Elbows are soft enough to open the chest. And this time we're going to twist as we take the left shoulder to the floor a little and back to center, and then the right shoulder down a little and back to center. Looking round to the right as the left shoulder comes towards the floor, and then looking round to the left as the right shoulder comes towards the floor. 1 more time to each side. It's a bit like doing press-ups. So it's quite strong in the upper body. But just do it in a way that feels good, coming all the way down. Taking a moment to rest the forehead to the floor, maybe give the hips a wiggle from side to side, and then hands underneath the shoulders and come into an extended child's pose. Here, I'd like you to take your knees a little wider so that you can take your body more towards the floor. And if you wish to, you can turn the palms of the hands upwards, which will give the wrists a little rest. You can wiggle your fingers. Deep breath in and deep breath out. We're going to re-establish our hands on the floor. Bring the weight forward into downward facing dog. Awesome sauce. And here in down dog, now we're just holding in stillness. So if you need to do any more wiggling, you absolutely can. But if you're able to hold and just resting, or near stillness, I think is probably best. Rolling the inner elbows towards each other, lengthening through the arms, lengthening the tailbone up. See if you can lengthen through the backs of the legs. And the heels don't need to touch, but perhaps they get towards the floor a little bit more than earlier. Take a moment just to make sure the back of the neck is relaxed. And when you're ready, you can either come through hands and knees or step your right foot all the way forward. Awesome sauce. We're going to place the left knee down. And this time, I'm going to just create a little bit of width. So the right foot comes out to the right, the left hand is going to be towards the left, and we're going to do a little twist here. So the first thing we're going to do is allow the hips to come forward to a point that feels supported. So the feet are working, the legs are working, belly muscles are working, and then make some big circles with our right arms. So nice lift in the belly muscles, nice length into the fingertips. 3 of these lovely big circles. And then we're going to reach the right arm up to the right side. See if you can open your chest just a little, and then bring your right elbow to the inside of the right knee and slide it down the inside of the calf to the shin, the ankle maybe to the floor. Doesn't matter if it doesn't go all the way. And then same thing again, reaching up, firm in the belly and the buttocks as you open the chest, firm in that space between the shoulder blades. And then elbow coming all the way down the inside of the right calf towards the floor. One more time. Open and elbow towards the floor. Don't worry if it doesn't go. With a little time and practice, it will. Okay, so then we're squaring the hips again. We want to just lift that back knee, spend a moment getting a little buoyancy across the feet so we can lightly step the left foot forward. Maybe narrow your stance again, hold in your forward bend for a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then bending the knees as you look forward, reach the arms out, breathing in, drop the bottom, stretch through the front of the body, breathing out, palms together at the center of the chest. Breathe in as you stand tall. Breathing out in Tadasana. Nice. Breathing in, take the arms around the body and up, lifting in the belly, breathing out as you fold forward, hands to feet and head to knees. Breathe in as you step the left foot back and the knee stays off the floor as we come into our lunge here. We're going to, the knee can go down if you want to begin with, it's not a problem. We're going to use blocks if you would like blocks. Keeping the chest open, I find blocks is a little bit easier. And then bending the left knee to kiss the mat and extend through the left leg. So we're bending the left knee to kiss the mat and extending through the left leg. Really want to be really buoyant in the legs here so that we could take the hands off the floor, support if we wanted to. Do 2 more, bending down, lifting up, bending down, and lifting up. Going to take the blocks off the mat, step into plank pose. And then here, we're going to do opposite knee to elbow. So you can hold plank if you prefer, or you can bring the left knee towards the right elbow and back, and the right knee towards the left elbow and back. Feel free to press into the base of the fingers to try and give yourself a little lightness in the heels of the hands. One more time to each side. And then we're going to exhale, knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other. This time, we're going to make a pillow out of the hands and leave the head down on the hands and lengthen the legs. Point the toes or allow the tops of the feet to be nice and long as well. And keeping your upper body really heavy here, we're going to firm the belly muscles. Think about engaging in the buttocks and then lift the left leg gently up and lower down. And lift the right leg gently up and lower down. It helps to press the opposite foot to the floor. So as you're lifting the left leg, press the right foot down. And as you're lifting the right leg, press the left foot down. Do 2 more to each side with the belly muscles lifted and engaged. And you can't help but engage through your buttocks, through the hamstrings as you do this movement. 1 more to each side. Very nice. Last time to the right. And then here we're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders, let the forehead find the floor briefly, and come into child's pose. This time, child's pose with the knees closer together if it feels comfortable to you. And we're going to allow the forehead to come to the floor, towards the floor first, and then walk your hands to your right. So as you walk your hands to your right, you can let your hips come to the left a little, stretching the left side of the body. The forehead does not have to touch the floor here, but if you wish to rest it on something, you can rest your head against the side of your arm. Take a couple of deep breaths. Then when you're ready, coming back to the center, take a moment in the center, maybe wiggle the hips from side to side, and then walk your hands to the left. As your hips are allowed, slide gently to the right, and take a couple of deep breaths. You can let your head rest against your upper arm if it feels like it needs some extra support. When you're ready, you can come back to the center, and then we are going to press that into the hands and come up into downward facing dog. And again, simply holding downward dog in stillness. It's quite nice to do that after all of our preparation, scooping the belly in, lengthening the tailbone up, rolling the inner elbows towards each other, just so that you can keep the arms lengthened. They don't need to be locked straight. Pressing into the base of the fingers, pressing the heels towards the floor, doesn't matter if they don't touch. Keep the back of the neck nice and easy. It can be just relaxed. One more deep breath in and out. And then either stepping forward or coming through hands and knees to take your left foot all the way forward. I've left my block behind. I'm going to come back and get it. And then right knee can come to the mat. So keeping the right hand down on the floor, we're going to widen the left foot out to the left. Let the hips come forward. And here we want to have a sense of engaged through the center so that we support the movement. So engaged in the belly and in the pelvic floor. Reaching the left arm around the body in a big circle as you allow your chest to open. And just getting used to this sensation of movement. Then when you're ready, you can reach the left arm up and engage the upper back to open the left hand as you twist your chest towards the left. And then take the left elbow to the inside of the left knee, slide it down the inside of the left leg towards the ankle, maybe even to the floor, and then reaching up again. Opening through the chest, and then elbow to the inside of the left knee, calf, shin, ankle, maybe the floor. One more time. Opening, and elbow towards floor. And when you're ready, you can free your right knee, find a bit of buoyancy across the 2 feet, so you can lightly step the right foot forward, maybe square your stance so you're feeling centered again. Hold in your forward bend, hold elbow to elbow. Maybe do a little gentle sway of the upper body from side to side. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Maybe turn the head gently or nod the head gently. You don't have to do that and sway at the same time. And then whenever you're ready, releasing the backs of the hands or fingertips to the floor, bend the knees deeply, tuck your chin in and round up, pressing into the center of the feet, scooping the belly in, letting the head and shoulders come up last. As you come up to standing, check if you feel a little woozy, just stay here. Hold on to something if you've got something close by. And if you don't, breathe in, take the arms around the body and up, opening your chest. Breathing out, drawing the palms together at the center of the chest. Let's do one more like that. Breathing in, take the arms around the body and up. Breathing out to finish, palms together at the center of the chest. Relax the arms down, widen your feet. And just let your breath come into its natural rhythm again. Give yourself any sort of wiggles that need wiggling. Sorry, I could tickle myself all day with these little things that occur to me as I'm talking. So apologies. I've got a little joy in me today, and it escapes. So we've done a lot with our bodies, and we're going to find our way to the floor to do a little bit of winding down. And then today in our relaxation practice, we're going to focus on our breath. So we haven't done a breath practice during the movement part of our practice, but we will do it during the stillness part. So if you need to put on an extra layer or two, it's a really good time to do it. I know you're warm, but that's part of the joy of being able to put on your extra layer now and find some extra, so you keep that warmth within. Lovely. And I seem to have chosen the most lurid of jumpers today, as usual, which will clash completely with my blanket. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. I've got a bolster close by as well. I'm going to use this bolster a little bit for relaxation, for the winding down bit and for relaxation. So I'm going to put the bolster down. You can equally use a block. You don't need a bolster. You can equally use a block or a couple of cushions for this part of the practice. And of course, nobody needs a bolster for relaxation. It's just nice to have it if you do. So if you're on a bolster, you're going to start sitting on it. And if you're not, you're going to start lying down on the floor. So if you've got your bolster, you want it underneath your buttocks, you can slide yourself a little bit forward and then just gently lay down, she says. It is also possible to start lying down on the floor and move the bolster into place, but bolsters are quite heavy, so sometimes it's just easier to get the bolster in place first. If you're on the floor, coming into constructive rest and just popping a cushion or a block underneath the body. So we want to just start with this supported bridge pose, basically. And so the upper body is the upper back, the back of the arms and hands, back of the neck, back of the head, all supported by the floor. We can give ourselves a little gentle sway of the chin from one side to the other. It's quite a nice thing to do anyway, when the head is supported. And then if you wish to, you can begin to walk your feet away from you. So the feet a little bit further from the bolster or whatever support you've got underneath your body, and then walking them a little further away still. If it feels good, you can extend both legs as far as they like to go with the heels on the floor and the back of the body supported by whatever's underneath your hips. So underneath your hips, rather than underneath the low back or underneath just the buttocks. If you've got a bolster, you might find that your support is spread out. That's okay. So we want to focus it on the sacrum, the part where the hips join the spine. And if you need to adjust, I think I'm going to move my bolster up a little bit, then you can. If you don't enjoy having both legs extended at the same time, just bend one knee and extend one leg at a time. Not a problem at all. So we're going to focus on this sense of openness across the front of the body, particularly the low abdomen. We've been doing lots of engaging through the abdominal muscles. This just gives them an opportunity for some space. Upper bodies can relax. The heels of the feet are supporting the weight of the legs, as well as the support behind the hips. You can take a few deep breaths here. If you've only got one leg extended, you can swap your legs around whenever you're ready. If you've got both legs extended, you might like to spend a moment with the right knee drawn into the chest and the left leg extended, and just doing a little bit of seesaw and teeter-totter. What do I mean? Pivoting, that's the one I mean, on the the part of the body that's supported. So you just gently tap your left heel towards the mat. And then whenever you're ready, you can swap legs, bend the left knee in, extend the right leg out, doing that sort of teeter-totter, pivoting, tapping the right heel towards the floor. And we do that with our leg extended, so the knee doesn't bend to do that. It's just that gentle rocking sensation across the sacrum that allows us to get that action. Whatever variation you're doing, bending both knees into your chest, and then we're going to place the palms on the thighs in front of us and extend the legs up towards the ceiling. So here we want to have that sense of the hips are lifted and supported. We can separate the feet a little just to roll the ankles, and the opposite way too. If it feels good to you, you can take your hands inside your thighs and take your feet nice and wide apart, extending through the heels, extending through the backs of the legs, but without lengthening too much into the backs of the knees. And just hold for a moment with the legs nice and wide. It is completely optional. Don't do that if you don't wish to. Then we're going to slide the hands around to the outside of the thighs to gently press the legs back towards each other, and simply let the weight of the legs drop into the hip sockets. Allow the arms to rest down to the side unless you feel the need for support here. Then take a few moments just allowing the blood to drain out of the feet and the low legs. You can maybe see the skin of your feet turning paler. That means that we're resting the venous return in our cardiovascular system. Just giving yourself one more deep breath in and out. And bending the knees gently into the chest, one at a time, taking the feet down to the floor. And we're going to just lift our hips enough to slide the bolster down the mat to the space that's underneath the backs of the knees. If you're using a block or a cushion, then just putting it to one side. For those of you who've got a bolster, you can rest your feet on top of the bolster. For those of you who don't, feet on the floor, same difference. It's no problem at all. Feet nice and wide, and we're just going to let the knees sway from side to side. So the only real difference here is that your feet are elevated if you're using a bolster. Just swaying the knees from side to side. If you like, you can turn with your head to the opposite side. And hopefully you're beginning to feel that coolness as we wind down. One more time to each side. Nice, slow, steady movements. And then we're going to come to the center. If you haven't got a blanket on, then popping a blanket on just to keep you nice and toasty. Of course, if you're practicing in sunnier climes and you're already quite toasty and your environment is warm, then you might go without a blanket. But it's quite nice to feel contained, I think. That sense of being wrapped up and tucked in is sometimes makes us feel safe and secure and loved. So bringing yourself into your relaxation pose of choice, it might be with a bolster or a rolled blanket or similar underneath the legs. You could do this with your feet up the wall, legs on a chair, or legs just along the ground. If it's a comfortable environment, open your arms away from your body, turning the palms upwards, and let the shoulders settle into the floor. Take up space around you. If it's cold against your floor, or if it feels like it irritates your shoulders, simply bend your elbows and rest your palms onto your belly. Wherever you are, make your last few fidgets And we'll screw all the muscles of the face in towards the nose, make a tight lemon sucking face. Then eyes open, mouth open, tongue out, exhale. Very good. Closing your eyes and bringing your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh really gently out through the mouth. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in, a gentle sigh, taking the last vestiges of effort away as you release. Your gentle sigh, softening the muscles a little deeper as you exhale. One more deep breath in and surrendering down into your mat as you exhale. Allow your breath to fall into a natural rhythm and fall into quietness. Take your awareness to your forehead, feel it soften. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, jaw, releasing. Allow the whole of the body to feel heavy, warm and supported, softening down. Move your awareness to your breath and observe the natural rhythm of your breath. Observe the sensations in your breath, the coolness of air as you breathe in through the nose, the warmth of the breath as it leaves the body. Observe the movement of your breath in your body. Return your awareness to the rhythm of your breath and just notice if there are any natural pauses in your breath. Perhaps there's a natural pause just after you finish breathing in, before you breathe out. Or perhaps there's a pause after you breathe out, before you breathe in. You may find a pause at both ends of the breath, or just one. For the purpose of this practice, focusing on the pauses where you find them without adding them. Allow your awareness to rest in that moment of stillness between the breaths. Feel that sense of calm and peacefulness in those pause moments. As your awareness is focused on those moments of pause, you may find that they become slightly perceptibly longer. And you can rest your awareness in that stillness, almost like a hanging anticipation of the next part of the breath. A suspension of movement. Continue to breathe, focusing on those moments of stillness, peacefulness, and calmness, allowing your mind to be still in those moments, as well as your body and breath. Continue practicing, softening the features of your face and your shoulders. Observing those moments of stillness. Begin to deepen your breath and bring your awareness back into your hands and your feet by moving your fingers, your toes, maybe rolling wrists and ankles. When you feel ready, you can take a deep breath in and stretch out from center into the arms, the legs, the fingertips, and the toes. Maybe
stretching one side of the body and then the other, maybe finding a yawn to stretch the face. When you're ready, you might like to gather yourself into center, either resting the feet on your bolster or bending your knees into your chest, maybe turning your head gently from side to side, or swaying the knees, or doing a bit of both. Find a movement that feels good, massaging the back of the body, or just moving in a way that feels comforting and comfortable. When you feel ready, you can roll to one side and just curl up for a moment, keeping the eyes gently closed, containing that sense of stillness within. In your own time, coming into any comfortable upright position. As you sit tall, resting your hands across your heart or palms together as you choose. Maybe bringing your chin towards your chest. I hope that you've found some inner sunshine today, some warmth from within to help us in these colder months. And I hope that that inner sunshine also gives you a sense of lifted spirits and an easy smile to spread into the world around you as well. When you're ready, a gentle smile to yourself, raising your head and opening your eyes. Thank you so much for joining in this practice today. I will see you again soon. Namaste.